And we're back with another episode of Nothing But Facts. I'm Trill.
And I am Clo.
And it's time to talk about some sports.
Football is back. This is strictly football. That's all we're going to be talking about. An overall summary from what just happened, not including the two games that we got tonight. We're going to talk about the notable injuries because there are some players, such as a starting quarterback and a star receiver, probably top 5 in the league, that went out with the same injury. And then we're going to also talk about breakout players because there was tons of them. So many of them are getting scooped up tomorrow off the waiver wire for fantasy. And then the last thing we're going to talk about, did Antonio Brown plan all this out to get to New England? Pittsburgh didn't want to trade him, and somehow, a couple months later, he's with Tom Brady. He's going to stay in Tom Brady's house till he finds a house for himself in New England. But let's kick off overall. What did you like about football yesterday? I know you were at the Dolphins game. You saw your Ravens win 59-10, thinking you were going against a college team.
It was so much fun.
You kept saying yesterday Lamar's going to win the Heisman because literally he performed like he was back in Louisville.
Basically.
The Dolphins are just trash. You got agents hitting up the team. Yo, my guy wants out. Your team is awful. They don't want to see what happens next week because Tom Brady and AB are going with Josh Gordon, who looks perfectly fine. Edelman is doing his stuff. They got 3 running backs to just rotate up. Whoever's balling is obviously going to be there. Michelle literally had I think 1.2 fantasy points yesterday. He had less than 15 yards rushing. But James White was doing it, and Burkhead, did you remember that player when you were watching it?
Yep.
You thought he was stuffed up, and he just made Bud Dupree has CTE from that hit.
It was just a whole bunch of wild shit going on.
It was amazing.
My few takeaways from yesterday: 1, Kyler Murray may not be that bad. He may have put up trash numbers throughout the first 3 quarters in that game versus Detroit.
I might lose my fantasy matchup because of him.
The kid showed up when the game was on the line, and he took his team down the field multiple times in the
19
fourth
points
quarter
in the fourth quarter, I believe.
To put up points on the board.
He went from 4.6 points in the fourth quarter to he finished the game, including overtime, 28.4 or 28.6 fantasy points.
So my man, I have all the faith in him. I just hope everything works out for him over there in Arizona. And a few other takeaways.
I feel like the offense is just clumsy. There was one point that their offensive line, he literally saw that Kyler was behind him, so he tried. This 6'5", 350-pound lineman tried to jump over Kyler Murray and just proceeded to sack him. Basically sacked his own quarterback. Their offensive line is depressing. Other than that, they got pieces. Larry's still there. Kirk is nasty. He was putting up numbers. They got some pieces over there. David Johnson's still going to produce.
Yeah, as long as he stays healthy, they got a nice little combo. Trio over there, you can say, for that match. My other few takeaways, I mean, like we said, Lamar had a great game. But I think the biggest thing is our rookie, he was probably one of the most highly questioned rookies.
Hollywood. Especially
being a first-round pick. My man didn't play besides 5 or 6 snaps in preseason. And he came out yesterday, only played 12 snaps. My man went off. 4 receptions on 5 targets, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran by Minkah Fitzpatrick, Alabama product, who everybody was ranting and raving about last year for the Dolphins. He ran right by that nigga. So you know his speed is elite. It was just a South Florida homecoming yesterday. It's going to be one next week with AB, Dorsett, Sony Michel, James. They're just going to shit on the Dolphins. Like, honestly,
I can't wait for that. If you have a New England player, you start him. It don't matter.
It don't matter who it is. They're going to play.
They're going to get some numbers, especially when they blow them out and everyone's sitting by the third. A takeaway for me, I like Doug Baldwin gone in Seattle, but they got DK. And he had, I think, 4 receptions, 84 yards. Yo, that man, he already looks unstoppable. He looks like he's going to be the next best receiver in the league. I think Seattle has something special over there because they got that running game. Chris Carson, 21 fantasy points, 2 total touchdowns. They got him in the passing game. Seattle's looking nice. It's kind of suspect because they won by 1 point against the Cincinnati Bengals team. But that Cincinnati team, John Ross was going crazy. Like, that offense is looking nice with that new coach.
And the fact that Joe Mixon went out, they would keep.
And they still kept. John Ross had 7 receptions, like 150 yards. Yo, I'm not even gonna talk about the Cowboys like that because Dak has every so often those games, but it was against the Giants. And not to even disrespect the Ravens either, but it was against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And next week it's against the Cardinals. But I know you guys play the Rams this year. I know you guys play a good amount of teams. Like, I want to see him produce because I feel like I want to see that. I feel like Lamar could do that.
You know, all we can do is say it's week 1. That's all you can really do at the end of the day, and just look at all the talent that they got around them. Because I feel like in the end, you got teams like the Patriots who it's more about the coaching at the end of the day. Like, their players rotate Doesn't really matter who's in that lineup as long as the coach is still the same.
But produce, that's all you gotta do.
It's all about systems at this
Business.
point. Systems and business. That's what football is at the end of the day, sadly. But moving on to our breakout players from this past week, I have two. Co-host has two. I'm going to let him jump into his two right now.
My two, which are going to be picked up tomorrow by a lot of people in their rosters, fantasy-wise. T.J. Hawkinson, 6 receptions, 131 yards with a touchdown. First-round pick for the Lions from Iowa. You would think it would be Galladay or maybe even Marvin Jones or Kerryon Johnson would go crazy. No, it was this tight end. They thought Jesse James was going to be in the red zone. No, it was this tight end. This tight end was going crazy. He's going to get scooped up. I might scoop him up. It looks like he's going to be a top 5 tight end eventually. My second breakout player, someone who he fell off when he was with the Ravens when Lamar came back because you guys were not passing it at all.
Exactly.
You were just letting Lamar cook up everything. And John Brown, he's not only a deep threat, but he's a great receiver. He was nasty in Arizona. He had those 2 good years in Arizona. Then he went to the Ravens, didn't happen. But now he has Josh Allen, who loves throwing that deep ball. 7 for 158, a touchdown. You got to look out for him. He's going to keep producing. It's a long year. I think he's the number 1 over there. The Bills got a nice defense. And with Josh Allen scrambling the way he is, people hate on him, but the man can play football.
Totally understandable. My 2 breakout players, number 1 is going to easily have to be my quarterback. 17 to 20. 46 fantasy points in some leagues, 32 in the low PPRs. All I know is that my quarterback had one of the greatest games in the NFL in his entire career. 17 of 20. He only had 3 incompletions, and those were mostly throwaways. It's not like my man was missing passes or anything. He had a great game. He only ran the ball 3 times. That's the biggest thing I was concerned about. He didn't have to run the ball yesterday. And I feel like when you have something like that, you're on pace to be something special. I can't wait
for those games that he's gonna have to run like that.
Oh yeah.
Because that defense is obviously not gonna be some D2 college level defense. It's gonna be some crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna see what he's really made of, which I think he can produce eventually. And Mark Ingram helps a lot too. No matter what, he's the one Alabama running back besides what we're gonna see what Josh Jacobs is made of this year. That he's actually produced and made a career out of everything.
Oh yeah.
Trey Richardson ain't doing anything. The list goes on. Eddie Lacy. I could keep going with these running backs from Alabama. Mark Ingram's made something, and he's a veteran, and he could produce for that team, and he could help Lamar out to spread the game out a lot for them.
Most definitely. My second breakout player, I thought more about it and had a change of heart, but I got to go with Austin Eckler for the Chargers.
Crazy.
You don't put up 150 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime, and be some type of trash. They obviously leaned on him for a reason yesterday, not only for the simple fact that he's, the second string running back ahead of Justin Jackson, who's the third, but he can do it. There was reasons why he was getting PT last year, even when Melvin Gordon was healthy. The man just provides something else that Melvin Gordon can't.
It's going to be the same thing that happened last year. James Conner balled, Eckler's going to ball, and Melvin Gordon's going to get out of there.
Yep.
I know it. It's gonna happen like that.
It's just that.
I just hope for the fantasy owners it doesn't happen that he doesn't report and you just basically wasted a draft pick.
I will know the feeling.
But if you drafted, see the thing is, if you drafted him early, you noodled yourself. Because I think if I didn't look at Melvin Gordon 6th, 7th round, he would have been like a 10th or 11th rounder for me.
Understandable.
I don't want to take that risk. But if he gets traded, you got whoever has Melvin Gordon.
That's a steal.
You might have won the league.
Exactly.
Especially if he goes to some crazy team. They're thinking. I saw reports today talking about sending him to San Francisco because Coleman's out.
I feel like another great spot for him would be Tampa, just for the fact that Tampa does not have a starter, and they need a run game to lean on. That would really help out Jameis and benefit.
I think Tampa Bay just needs so much help. I'm sorry, but Winston's gonna go. He's gonna be one of those. I hope he gets a second chance somewhere, or he might just end up being like one of those quarterbacks that plays everywhere. But he's not it. It's 31-17. That was the final score with the Bucks and the 49ers, and Jimmy G had one touchdown. No other touchdown. No another offensive touchdown. It was 2 pick sixes, field goals. What are you doing, Jameis? He just be throwing it.
As an FSU fan who's seen him the entire time from college all the way up till now, he just looks like 2 different quarterbacks. In college, the man had decision making. He could put the ball in certain places. He was elite. there was a reason why he went first and second overall with Mariota. He won a damn Heisman. Like, you don't do that if you can't play the quarterback position. But now he's got to the NFL, and I don't know if he's not taking it serious enough. He's not paying enough attention to the small details. I don't know exactly what it is with Jameis, but the transition that we expected him to make, even after year 2 and 3,
Mariota's
just
playing
never
better than
happened.
him.
Exactly. And Mariota's biggest flaw was never that he couldn't throw or any of the problems.
Healthy.
Exactly. Jameis doesn't have injury problems. He just makes poor fucking decisions.
He's like, let me just throw it. Damn.
I think he over there. I hope he over there.
I hope so.
That's all he says.
He'll be tripping out.
But moving on to, the sad part of yesterday, all the injuries that took place.
I'm not happy. Number one, the most important, he won, Tyreek Hill, breaking his collarbone. Or not even, I don't know if it's broken, but he's not going to need surgery on it. I was so close. You were there when I did, I don't think you were there when I did my work league. I was either, the projections were, DeAndre Hopkins was the number one receiver at 245.6, I think, and Tyreek was 245.3. If Hopkins got taken, I was going to take Tyreek, and he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. I'm so glad. It's a bittersweet feeling for fantasy owners. If you took Tyreek and Sammy Watkins, you're safe. That could have been a breakout player. 49 points in full PPR leagues. I think in the other leagues it was 46, 45. Tyreek Hill's gone. It's going to hurt the fantasy owners, but I think on the field, it's not going to hurt the Chiefs at all because you're just going to insert Sammy Watkins. He's not as quick as Tyreek Hill, but he can be just as explosive and just as good as Tyreek Hill. Because people were
he was a number 4 pick for
Don't trip on Sammy Watkins from Clemson. Come on, man.
He was the number 4 overall pick for a reason.
That Chiefs team is not going to take a hurt at all. It's still you're gonna see it at the end of the day because he's not gonna have that speed of Tyreek Hill. It's not gonna hurt him at all. I feel like it's gonna hurt more in fantasy, but that's the biggest injury then going on. What do you have to say about that?
I mean,
it's depressing.
It's very depressing just looking at everything. He just got paid as well this past week, 3 for 54, and you get injured like that. I feel terrible for the man, especially for the fact that he had such a up and down all season. We didn't know if the man was going to be suspended. We heard everything about the baby mama, the baby, all that shit. And for him to not get suspended, he gets the new contract, and in week 1, you got to end up going to the hospital, bruh. That's never good. And even if he doesn't need surgery, 6 to 8 weeks is a very long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he'll even be 100% at a point this season, just for the simple fact that DBs and safeties, anybody is just going to target that shoulder. Whichever one it is, he's going to have to protect it at this point.
If Chiefs got the number 1 seed, number 2 seed locked, you just sit them to the playoffs.
Most definitely. That's the least what I would do.
If you got home field and you don't have a shot to get the number 1 seed, then sit them. If you got a shot, then I still wouldn't. If you're there for a reason. You're going to need Tyreek Hill to try to capture that number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Moving on to the second one, this man can't catch a break. He won a ring when Carson Wentz went down. Nick Foles went to the Jaguars. The Jaguars are supposed to be hype. They got that defense. They got Jalen Ramsey. They got all those boys, Miles Jack. Telvin Smith took a year off, but they still got Calais Campbell and people like that, AJ Bouye. Nick Foles comes in. They think you got him, Fournette, Dede. Who else? You got Shark.
They got a few receivers over there.
And then you got Fournette, who's supposed to be one of the best backs in football.
Kansas City.
And this man breaks his collarbone. Clavicle. However you want to say it. Out for 6 to 8 weeks as well. But the bad thing is, I feel so bad for him because he can't catch a break because this was it. He left the Eagles. He got it. This is him. He's going to be the franchise quarterback for the next 10 years for the Jaguars. He's only, I think, 30 or 31. He could play, I see, 10 years, maybe fewer, 8 or 7. And he was supposed to take the Jags places. Be in contention in the playoffs. Be in contention in that division against Watson, against Mariota, against Brissett. Sorry, Andrew Luck. You back on the farm. Shout out to you. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, it's sad to see. It really is.
To me,
that shit sucks.
It was not only that, but just seeing what the team was able to do in his absence. Because not to take anything away from the rookie.
Shout out to that rookie
who went 22 of 25,
shout out to the rookie. Shout out to people who
275.
rock mustaches.
But
that boy went crazy.
The biggest thing is, imagine if Nick Foles would have been in the game. He either would have put up identical numbers or even better.
He was balling. I think he was 5 for 8 with 70 yards and a touchdown before he went out. He wasn't playing bad. So, I feel like it would have been it would have been 40 to 26. It would have been a lot closer.
It would have been a shootout at that point. They would have kept going back and forth. But once your star quarterback goes down, it's going to take...
It's a rookie. Imagine that. Imagine It's opening day. You're a rookie. Foles goes down, and you're going in against the Chiefs. And it's not even like because their defense is not that fire. It's just like, yo, I gotta compete with Patrick Mahomes right now
Because if I
to
don't
keep
score,
my
he's
team
gonna
in this
score.
game. It's not worrying about the defense because, yo, a rookie, 22 for 25, 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. That's how you know the Chiefs' defense is that bad. But it's knowing that, damn, I gotta score this possession because if I don't, Patrick Mahomes is going to get 7 or 3 every single time for his team.
It's just that simple. Just that
You're
simple.
rarely gonna punt. The Chiefs kicker in a full PPR had 17 points. I have him.
Crazy.
Like the Chiefs are gonna score no matter what most of the time.
Very, very crazy. But other than that, I don't think there were any other major
They're
injuries.
just like little nicks and knacks. I think Mahomes got like a little sprained ankle. He'll be good. Baker, I think, has like a bruised hand. He'll be good.
They'll play through those.
I think Funches is the only one that I think he broke his collarbone too. Like people just breaking their collarbone left and right. Geis has an MRI on his knee. He's gonna miss some time. I'm gonna drop him.
I
That
saw
sucks.
Jimmy Smith possibly tear his ACL yesterday.
Oh,
We're
God.
waiting on an MRI about that.
Mike
one.
Williams has a bad ankle for Los Angeles. Excuse me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the main ones is Foles and Hill because they're just like one was supposed to be a franchise quarterback. The other one you could argue that he's a top 5 receiver in the league, one of the most explosive players ever. But other than that, my favorite topic for the day, Antonio Brown is a wizard. 100%. I personally think he planned this out. Things aren't coincidence. They're not at all. There's no way he literally doesn't get traded to the Patriots because the Steelers, obviously, they can't beat him with AB. So why are you going to trade him to New England? You can't beat him at home. You can't beat him away. So why? That's not going to work out. And he goes to Oakland. Oh, it's lit. I'm good. Derek Carr, me, Josh Jacobs. Oh, the Raiders are back, baby.
John Gruden?
Oh, the Raiders are back.
It's about to be lit.
Something had to happen in those first couple practices that he was like, this isn't going to work out. Either Carr is trash, either the offense is trash, either he doesn't like the way Gruden is. Something happened for him to start plotting this in his head. He's like, yo, I can end up going to New England, and I know I could work something out and still get my money. I can sue the NFL for this, for that. It doesn't matter. He had to have. It wasn't by himself. I know he had to probably hit someone up if this is true. Talk to them, see how they could start doing things. You know, first with the helmet, he got fined. Posted the letter. You could go back to Pittsburgh when he threw Big Ben under the bus.
Yeah.
Juju under the bus with messages like you're texting your like someone who the kid Juju was 21. He's just exposing everyone, just like messaging this, acting like kind of like a female, like someone you wouldn't want to trust on your team. But that's why New England has him because New England can whip him into shape. Because Belichick's the first thing he's out of there, 100%.
Most definitely.
But to do all that and then tell the GM, you know, Antonio Brown. I don't even think it makes no sense that he just started with the CTE that he starts. That's BS to me. This has to be planned for him to literally go to the GM and say, I'll punch you in the face, punt the ball, fine you for that. Like, dog, you're trying to get that's like at a regular job, you're trying to disrespect the general manager because you want to get fired. You're going to do it. And the crazy thing is, it's because it's Antonio Brown, because I feel like any other receiver, they wouldn't even be in the league. No other team would pick him up. But since, of course, it's Antonio Brown, at the end of the day,
Someone's going to take a chance.
He can play football. 100%. It's Antonio Brown, one of the best receivers for the last decade. But I 100% think he planned it out just to end up in New England where he wanted to be originally. It's too fishy for me. The things he did, acting like a drama queen, posting it on YouTube, like he was like filming it, all this, the recording with Gruden. Shit is fishy, bro.
I feel like the only way it can get even fishier is if one of two things happens. He's going to either act the way he's supposed to in New England, and everyone's going to say, oh, it's the Belichick way, it's the Patriot way, he's got his act right, all this stuff, it's the team around him. Or it's just the simple fact that he had this planned out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look, I know that when I go over here, I can't do all the same bullshit I was doing other places. Just got to play football, do my job, and I can just go home. It's just that simple. They're
Right.
going to pay me because I'm still one of the best receivers in the NFL when I'm on the field. It's just that simple.
100%. Like,
Just that simple.
100%.
And the simple fact that the Patriots actually don't need this man at all. Pretty
Bro,
sure most of the world
he
saw that
doesn't.
game
It doesn't matter
last
that
night.
Pittsburgh has no defense. They don't need him. You have Josh Gordon is the number 1 receiver in football, and he still has time to dominate for 2-3 years. Man led the league in receiving yards in 2013. He's dominating. He just couldn't stop. It's not like he was doing some crazy shit. He was just smoking weed, but obviously it's illegal in his profession, so he can't do it. But the man, they don't need him. They have him. They have Edelman, who's Brady's favorite receiver most likely. Gronk is gone, so both of them are going to get something. Philip Dorsett, it's Brady. Philip Dorsett is quick. He could play. He's from the crib right there. They got so many receivers, and they got the boy that you said that is injured from Arizona State, who's like 6'3", 220. They're set. They don't. Antonio Brown, literally, it's against Miami, but when they do what they're gonna do to Miami to another team, a playoff contending team, everyone's gonna realize like, yo, just give him number 7, because it's not gonna. That offense is gonna be lethal. I think there's only maybe one team that can contain that team, but they can't keep up with them on offense, and that's the Bears. Because Khalil Mack and that Roquan Smith and all that defensive line, everybody, those linebackers, they could get to Tom Brady, but it's just then when they got the ball.
Yeah.
Trubisky going to compete with Brady. And Mahomes and Brady, it's just a shootout, as you saw last year, and Brady came through. It's just going to be a shootout. But there's one team that could stop, like a defensive team that could stop Brady, Brown, and all those receivers. But it's Eddie Jackson, Khalil Mack, all those boys. But come on, man, you got Trubisky, it's not going to work.
It's just a problem.
That's my opinion.
And basically with AB, the perfect scenario. I can't think of any other way. You end up with the best quarterback, the best coach, probably the best team,
system.
And you're gonna sit here and coast to a ring. I don't know if he was with the Steelers for the first ring when Tomlin got his ring, but
I don't think so.
He's gonna get his first Super Bowl ring very easily this year, and that can easily solidify him as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
he can play these 10 years and retire at the end of next year. He can go down as a Hall of Famer. It's just that simple. You don't lead the league in catches.
I feel like if he does that, he might try to just stay until Brady retires and try to get as many rings, and then really try to solidify himself as like maybe even the best.
I think Gronk is coming back at a point as well, just for the.
Someone already picked him up in my league. I'm like, bro, yo, you're thinking too much. You're thinking farther than me. It's like I was going to pick him up, but I was like, yeah, I doubt he's coming back. But yo, if he comes back,
he's coming back because this offense, it's so easy. And Josh Gordon had 3 catches for 73 yards last night. Julian Edelman had 6 or 7 catches. The running, Burkhead had 5. James White had 5. Like, bruh, it don't matter who's on the field. He's gonna throw the football. It's gonna get there. It's just that simple. It could be me and him running routes. We gonna end up about 5 or 6 catches that night. It's just that simple. It could be the milkman and the bread man. It don't matter. It really don't.
Facts.
It's just a system.
Facts.
And when you insert the best players in their profession in that system as well, it just becomes that much easier. But as always, we feel like we've covered all of our topics for today. NBF_Trill.
NBF_Clo on Twitter, Clo_Rogers on Instagram, NBF_Trill on Instagram, Nothing But Facts 3 on Instagram and on Twitter as well. Comment on this video, let us know what you think, subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it, post it. You guys have a nice day.